Okay, everybody, I couldn't let this day go by without giving you another edition of the preview for the College Football Playoff National Championship game set to square off on Monday, January 9th, between Alabama and Clemson. So, I want to give you a little bit more information about these Clemson Tigers. Some of the things I saw, I'm more familiar with Alabama, so I wanted to give you an opportunity to see some of the things I saw when I watched a little bit of film on Clemson. I'm going to try to do another one of these before I do my prediction video for the game. So this is the Clemson versus Virginia Tech note. So some of the things I noticed from Clemson's game with Virginia Tech. One of the themes that I constantly saw, of course, and you noticed from watching Clemson last year as well, is that they rely a lot on the QB draw for their running game. Deshaun Watson takes directly to snap and run right at the line of scrimmage, or he'll try to make a play on the outside, kind of like an outside zone, RPO, quarterback read option, however different ways they can get him to run the ball, they try to do that. And he's really the catalyst for that running game. They really, uh, you'll see what I'm saying as I continue. You'll see how much that they rely on this running game with Deshaun Watson, and they are very reliant on a short passing game. Although they do go down the field, especially to Mike Williams and to Jordan Leggett, the tight end, but they're more consistent with their shorter passes. So I'll just start out with what I saw. So to start the game on Clemson's first drive, it's a QB draw. First play, Deshaun Watson taking off and running. And there was a lot of push on the VT front, on the Virginia Tech front to start off um, on that play. And they usually get pushed when they're doing a QB draw with Deshaun Watson. So it's really interesting because they have more blockers, so they have more guys that can push on the line of scrimmage. Also, I noticed on Clemson's first drive, they had two wide receiver screens in the first few plays alone. Like within the first 5 plays or so, they had two wide receiver screens. They like to hit not Ardarius, still I'm thinking about Alabama. They like to hit Artavis Scott, number 3, on a lot of screen short passes at the line of scrimmage because he's so quick and he's really fast. They like to hit Ray McCloud. And their run blocking was pretty solid overall to start the game. Now, at the 10-minute, 21-second mark of the first quarter, Gerard Evans, the Virginia Tech quarterback, if you haven't heard about him, or if you didn't watch that game against Tennessee, you're missing out on the gym. This guy is talented, and he had a lot of good yards that matched up a lot with Lamar Jackson and a few other guys out there this year. And so, watch for Virginia Tech's offense in the coming years. But at the 10-minute, 21-second mark, Evans had a nice, clean pocket on 3rd and 17. So, in an obvious passing situation, the Virginia Tech offensive line actually gave um, Gerard Evans plenty of time to throw. He overthrew the receiver because he's learning, but there was a bracket coverage on the receiver. The safety was coming over the top, although the safety was a little bit further ahead, and maybe he could have threw the ball in there a little bit better. So, and that's going to be a theme. You're going to hear me say this. Gerard Evans is actually going to have a lot of time in this game to make passes. It's just that he's an inexperienced passer. And what I noticed that Clemson, the reason why that was the case is that Clemson's defensive line, although they're disruptive and big and strong, I noticed their freshman Dexter Lawrence is 340 pounds, and Christian Watkins is a big guy, and Cleveland Farrell and Christian Wilkins, uh, they're big guys and they're disruptive, but they're not as fast, they're not as speedy in rushing the passer. You're going to see that. At the 9-minute, 39-second mark of the first, Watson himself had a clean pocket to pass from. So they give Deshaun Watson some good pass protection quite a bit, this offensive line. At the 9-minute, 33-second mark, another clean pocket for Deshaun Watson with the addition of quick releases. So what makes this so hard to get to Deshaun Watson sometimes is because the way he throws the ball is so quick. He kind of like Tony Romo-esque with how quickly that ball gets. He like shoots the ball out of his arm with a very fluid motion. Now the thing about his mechanics though is that the way he throws the ball sometimes with the way he's releasing the ball is a little bit low, which leads to some bad passes, which you'll see come up later on. At the 8-minute, 35-second mark, Virginia Tech sent pressure, but they played off coverage. And Deshaun Watson was able to hit the snap for 5 to 7 yards because he's able to release the ball so fast. And you're going to see them adjust because later on in the game, Virginia Tech they started blitzing and playing press coverage, and it was effective. 8-minute, 3-second mark, Watson had a lot of time, but Virginia Tech had plenty of coverage. So these receivers for Clemson aren't uncoverable, as a lot of people will have you believe. And Watson had to throw it high. Virginia Tech changed fronts on defense so often pre-snap. So Virginia Tech, Bud Foster, the Virginia Tech defensive coordinator, if you don't know about him, you should. He's been coaching their defense forever. But he makes them, he's so smart. He's always having the defense change their lines. I literally saw them go from one type of front to another type of front, like within 3 seconds, right before my eyes, as they were trying to confuse Deshaun Watson. It didn't always work, but it was effective at times. 6 minute, 2 second mark, run pass option by Watson leads to a wide open touchdown to Leggett. So they have been able to run the ball a little bit more effectively at this point. And with Gallman, and so they faked it, and Watson pulled it back up, and Jordan Leggett ran right by the safety because the safety went out to Gallman. So that was an undisciplined play by Virginia Tech, which is very uncharacteristic because their defense is usually very disciplined. But that's the type of play Alabama's going to have to look out for because you're going to have to stick with your man and remain disciplined and not allow yourself to be caught up in the eye candy. 5 minute, 51 second mark. Pretty good run stuff by the front, the Clemson front. They that's the theme that you notice too is that because they're big and disruptive, they usually handle the running game of the opposing team pretty well. So it's one thing to watch out. At times, because at other times, because they're a little bit undisciplined, they give up the run, but when they're on their game, they hold up pretty well. The 5 minute, 22 second mark, Evans had time, Gerard Evans again, but he stepped up too far in the pocket. And he got caught. And there was good coverage downfield, though, and that led to one of the reasons why he got pulled down. 4 minute, 25 second mark, Evans had plenty of time to throw, so 2 times in a row here. But he threw an inaccurate pass. Tankersly, who was Clemson's best cornerback this year, he had solid coverage, but the ball was still catchable. If Evans had to throw it where it needed to be, it would have been a completion. Next play, the Clemson front stopped the run pretty well. So once again, they stopped the run. At the 3 minute, 36 second mark, the pocket closed on Evans fast because of a blitz by Clemson. So Clemson's blitzes are very effective because their big guys hold the line so well and their linebackers are able to roam free. One of the best fake punts. Oh yeah, this game has one of the best fake punts I've ever seen. At 3 minute, 9 second mark of the first quarter, Virginia Tech called this fake punt. And it was called back for a penalty. And no, they came back and they were able to get it. The punter basically shot a jump shot with the ball. And the guy who caught the ball fielded behind the line of scrimmage and was able to run for a first down because he tricked him, making it seem like he was about to punt it because the motion looked similar, but then he all of a sudden changed it and kind of able to flick like he was shooting a three-pointer. And the ball went into the guy's hand. It was a pretty amazing play. You got to go see that. The 2 minute, 46 second mark in Virginia Tech, they did a halfback pass fake. So they faked the ball. They pitched the ball to the halfback like he was about to run. He just had to toss the ball up. And Tankersly, Clemson's best cornerback, was beat in coverage. He had a step or two behind the receiver because he was looking in the backfield. And then he had started grabbing Virginia Tech receiver number 7's hands because he got beat. Pass interference, Virginia Tech was able to continue moving the ball. 2 minute, 40 second mark, Evans had time again, opted to scramble for a few. And he started scrambling a lot, and that was actually very effective against this Clemson team, the QB draw. So the same thing that we're using against Virginia Tech started to use against them. And Evans is a big, strong quarterback, so like a lot of tough yardage that he kept running for. The 1 minute, 51 second mark, good time in the pocket again. And this time, Clemson safety number 31 was beat on a slant route. The 51 second mark of the first quarter, Watson had time to survey the field. And honestly, he had time to survey the field this whole first quarter. He started the game 10 for 10, didn't miss a single pass. And last play of the first quarter, Watson hit Leggett in stride down the seam on an RPO. Very accurate pass from Watson. Virginia Tech stuffed run on the first play of the second quarter. And at the 14 minute, 26 second mark of the second, Virginia Tech sent the heavy blitz with man coverage, and this forced Watson to throw away. So what I noticed is that Virginia Tech was able to get a lot of pressure on Watson when they did this because they're changing front and whatnot. They held up the Clemson's offensive line and they sent the blitz. And Watson, when he feels the blitz coming, for the most part, what he'll do is he tends to try to get rid of the ball fast and doesn't want to hang on to the ball too long. So it's really, really interesting to see how he handles pressure because he tends to just kind of let the ball fly when he's feeling pressure coming. At the 13 minute, 33 second mark, quick pass from Watson. Ball goes nowhere. I really don't know what he was doing on that play. I think he was trying to get rid of the ball or trying to throw a quick out, but he threw the ball just kind of nowhere. 13-minute, 30-second mark. The QB draw shows Watson's elusiveness. So it was like motion right on the field and trying to get all the Virginia Tech defenders going that way. And the line pulled back left, and Watson followed it. And his ability to weave through those tackles and get yardage, it was amazing to see. He runs like a running back sometimes, which is really scary because he can pass pretty well too, but he can run. 11-minute, 51-second mark. Watson had all day to wait on a play to develop. And he hit Leggett, the tight end, with a perfect throw slanting in the end zone. Because he just had all day to wait on his pass. Like the Clemson offensive line gave him plenty of time, and he just stepped back there, hit Leggett right in stride on the slant route in the end zone. 10-minute, 35-second mark. Clemson double linebacker blitz. It was a pretty well executed blitz. Gets Evans before he can even get to the line of scrimmage. They got in the backfield so fast. So these Clemson linebackers, they're not big guys, 6 feet, 230 pounds, 6'1", that type of height, 6'2", not the hugest guys out there. So they move pretty fast. And that shows up on film. What I did notice is that Virginia Tech started using a lot of empty sets on this drive where they got this blitz on. A lot of quick passes, stick routes, quick hitting routes to keep the Clemson rush from getting to them because they knew their line couldn't hold up all day against these guys. So they started going empty set QB draws, throwing stick routes. And it was successful as the game wore on, actually. So that's interesting to see. At the 8-minute, 20-second mark, Virginia Tech lineman number 97, he won his battle and got to Watson. So he beat the right guard so easily, just pushed him into the backfield and got to Watson. And that was really interesting to see. 7-minute, 43-second mark, Virginia Tech won the line of scrimmage on that run play, so they stuffed the run pretty well there. The 7-minute, 10-second mark, good pressure by Virginia Tech defensive line again, and it was actually good coverage. And so they got pressure and they got coverage and forced Watson to get rid of the ball. 6-minute, 19-second mark, Deshaun Watson had some time, but good coverage on Deion Kane by number 36. So the number 36, the Clemson cornerback, really impressed me watching him go up against some of these. Clemson, the Virginia Tech cornerback, number 36, really impressed me going up against these Clemson receivers, and specifically on this play, Deion Kane. He covered him up really, really well. And he played the ball just, it was really good. He was looking behind him the whole time, looking back at the quarterback while running with the receiver in stride. And when the ball flew out of his hand, he stopped, broke back on the ball before the receiver had a chance to do anything. Excellent play. And what that forced Watson to do was he threw the ball behind and really couldn't get his receiver a chance to get the ball because he wanted to keep it away from the DB. 6-minute, 7-second mark, Gerard Evans had excellent pass protection. And Clemson played zone. And what happened was that it was an undisciplined play. So the Clemson's best cornerback, rearing his head with some undisciplined play here, allowed the wide receiver to get in between him and the safety. And Gerard Evans' arm strength showed because he was able to throw that ball in there really hard and got the ball to the receiver before the safety was able to get over to him. 5-minute, 27-second mark, another quick stick, and Tankersly missed the initial tackle. That is another thing. Tankersly, interesting guy, plays good coverage, but doesn't always come up in the run support, doesn't always tackle well. And that showed up in the game last year, remember, when O.J. Howard ran down the sideline for the long play, missed tackle by the cornerback. So Clemson can be a little undisciplined sometimes in their coverage game, also in their missing tackles. 4-minute, 15-second mark. Evans, on a simple QB draw on empty sets, he runs right through a few tackles. So once again, that theme of missing tackles kind of showing its head again. 3:39 of the second quarter, Virginia Tech had good coverage, and they were able to move Watson in the pocket, forcing him to get out of the way a little bit. 2-minute, 58-second mark. Clemson decides to do a QB draw on 3rd and 1. And this is where I really started noting that they're using QB draws a lot because I wrote lots of QB draws. They realized that they moved the ball well when they had Deshaun Watson running the ball. And they even decided to run the ball with Deshaun Watson on a 3rd and 1. That tells you that they have more confidence in Deshaun Watson getting the offensive rhythm going because that's when the offense was in rhythm, when they were QB drawing it. Then they were comfortable giving Wayne Gallman the ball. When they were giving Wayne Gallman the ball more, the line of scrimmage was getting stuffed. And so they have a lot of confidence in Deshaun Watson. So it's really interesting how they decided to do that. The 2 minute 32-second mark of the second quarter, Virginia Tech brought pressure and played man. And number 36 again, making a play on playing Mike Williams, and he broke on the ball again, thrown up by Watson, and the pressure got to him. And actually, I want to make sure that I didn't make a mistake on the coverage earlier with Deion Kane. I think maybe he was just running with Deion Kane, and Watson saw the good coverage, and the ball was behind because he wasn't going to be able to get to it. But I think on this play against Mike Williams, number 36 for Virginia Tech, played Mike Williams really well. Stopped, broke on the ball, turned around actually, and tried to go for the ball. And the pressure forced Watson to make that throw. At the 1 minute 40-second mark, Virginia Tech brought pressure again. Watson felt it and just threw it up so that, like I said, he'll feel pressure and he'll just throw the ball up. And it was man coverage again. 1 minute 16-second mark, another quick slant, another quick stick by the Virginia Tech offense. And it's still open, so Clemson was content in giving him those plays. The first play of the third quarter, Evans had good pass protection, really good pass protection, actually. And I don't understand what he was doing, but he got jittery as if he was already expecting to get sacked. Got jittery, and that led to sacks. He started moving around. He he was trying to run away, and then he ended up taking the sack. So it was really weird to see how the ideal of pressure can get in the quarterback's head. 14-minute 25-second mark. Tankersly defended the wide receiver well, one-on-one. He tracked the ball and he knocked it away. I remember this play. He was running with the receiver step for step. Ball was in the air. He jumped up with the receiver, stuck his hand up there, and knocked the ball away. Excellent coverage by Tankersley. 13-minute 48-second mark. No pressure, but Watson's ball was tipped. So the Virginia Tech defensive lineman, number 99, and it led to a sack. It led to an interception because he tipped the ball and the ball landed up in the Virginia Tech linebacker's hand. And this defensive lineman did it again. And you remember what I told you earlier about Watson's passing motion? The commentators didn't say this, but when I see Watson throw the ball, he doesn't have that prototypical fullback throw high. He kind of, that quick release makes him kind of throw the ball kind of in that way, closer to his body and not really high. Even though he still has the way he releases the ball really quick and is really good, is that it can be a bit low, which I think leads to some of those batted balls. And some of the reason why he floats the ball, like throws the ball in a straight line sometimes, on a rope rather than putting enough air on it. And I think that's one of the reasons why, is because of that motion when he's throwing the ball. And I think that led to this interception. And I'm going to bring it up again later because that same thing happened again. At the 13-minute 33-second mark, Carlos Watkins won his battle and got Evans on a stunt. So this play impressed me because Carlos Watkins was on a stunt play and he pushed the left guard basically back into the quarterback, held him there, and got the quarterback as he tried to run by. That's the sign of a dominant lineman. 12-minute 55-second mark, another QB draw by Watson. Next play, very next play, another QB draw. They really were, because they realized they moved the ball and they stayed in the rhythm when Deshaun Watson was QB drawing it as their running game. When he's not doing that, their running game struggles. 12-minute 9-second mark, Watson completes to Mike Williams, but it was high. Williams had to really go up and get it. Had he hit him in stride, Williams would have turned up the field. But it was pressure, and that probably led to him having to throw the ball high as he did. 11-minute 21-second mark, a QB draw. Like I said, I really started zoning in on these because I kept seeing it. Clemson bearing down. They were really starting to wear on the Virginia Tech defense. So they were able to wear down the Virginia Tech defense because Watson's so good at running the ball, picking up yards. So they were able to keep running, and really get the defensive line to really work hard. 9-minute 10-second mark, Evans had time again. Pass the ball. So Clemson, like I said, their defensive line is not the speediest rushing group. They're just disruptive. 8-minute 25-second mark, Clemson, their line rushed up the field, and they got past everybody. And Evans looked like he was gonna run by and get a first down, scramble. But Watkins again, he did that same thing again. Bulled his guy off the stunt, and he pushed the guy and dominated him right there and held him where he needed to be and got Evans before he was able to keep going. Sign of a dominant lineman. The 7-minute 49-second mark, another QB draw from Deshaun Watson. 7-minute 4-second mark, Watson on a quick pass tipped again by number 99. And the crazy part is, like, I talked about that motion that he has, but even with that motion, he has a ton of velocity on the ball, it was seen, because the guy kind of hurt his hand and shoulder trying to lift up, and maybe he already had a pre-existing condition, but still, the fact that the throw caused him to kind of aggravate it, I think Watson's arm strength kind of showing in these plays here. 7 minute 1 second mark. Watson threw high. It was good coverage though, but he still threw high. And I wonder if the previous play affected him, realizing the fact that he was throwing a little bit low because of his mechanics, so he was trying to compensate for it. 6 minute 50 second mark, another Clemson run stuff. 6 minute 15 second mark. Evans had no reason to be jittery. He had plenty of time, but he tried to run. Then he changed his mind, got back in the pocket and tried to throw the ball, and it ended up being an interception to Tankersly. And Tankersly made a great play. It was good coverage, but Dry Evans had no business being jittery in the pocket. He was completely fine. Nobody was beating their man to get to him. And that shows you that your quarterback needs to stay composed. 5 minute 33 second mark. Good coverage on Deion Kane, but the DB got too aggressive going for the ball. And what happened was, and Kane got a big play. It was a little short stick route, kind of slant route, and Deshaun Watson hit Kane. The DB, just as Kane was catching the ball, jumped out in front trying to knock the ball down with one hand, but missed the ball. Kane caught the ball, ran up the field for a big play. 3 minute 39 second mark. The weirdest defensive call I've ever seen. Clemson dropped 11. That's not a mistake. Clemson dropped 11, all 11 defenders back to play coverage to confuse Evans. And honestly, it almost worked, but it didn't work because Evans was able to spot his receiver down the field, threw it down there, and his big 6'7" receiver used his body to shield himself away from the DB and caught the ball down the field. But it was a really interesting call, and it's not that I didn't like it. It was really interesting and weird, but I like it. 2 minute 36 second mark. Virginia Tech runs it in on the outside stretch play, and two defenders from Clemson didn't get the tackle, undisciplined tackle. Tankersly didn't try. This was so weird, and I've never seen a DB this apathetic when it comes to the tackling and trying to play. All he did was push the running back. He literally did this. He pushed the running back, just pushed his two hands out and hit him. No grab or anything. Just let him by. 1 minute 53 second mark. Good coverage down the field by Virginia Tech. The linemen started to rush a little bit as well, and they were going to work together and really get some playing going. 1 minute 46 second mark. The blitz on Watson forced a short throw. And it was a good tackle by the Virginia Tech DB. So once again, the blitz on Watson showing its effectiveness. First play of the fourth quarter was a quick pass, another Clemson missed tackle. 14 minute 16 second mark, good protection for Evans once again. 12-minute mark of the fourth, Evans takes off and another missed tackle. 11 minute 42 second mark, Evans again on a draw play, QB draw. He gets a touchdown. They didn't want to tackle him anymore. They were starting to lose interest in tackling this guy because his ability to run as a quarterback and be tough and continue to fight for the yards was really wearing on him. It was good run blocking and blocking in general on the last two plays leading up to that touchdown. At the 11 minute 3 second mark, Watson had a lot of time. He threw an okay ball to Renfro. And the reason why I say it was okay because Renfro made the catch because it was a really good catch. He stretched out above and behind, if that makes sense. So the ball was ahead of him, but behind him, so he had to kind of do this. And he caught the ball and was able to continue the Clemson drive. But Watson should have thrown that ball a little bit better, and he probably would have been able to keep running. 10 minute 5 second mark, good run blocking by the Clemson O-line. They got a 5-yard run to get a first down, and that showed they were pushing guys out of the way on that play. But then, undisciplined play shows up again. 2 false starts in a row, and this happened within the 9-minute mark, like somewhere around the 8 minute 30-second mark, 8 minute 40-second mark. 2 false starts, penalties in a row by the Clemson line. 8 minute 20-second mark, Watson had some time. The pressure was coming, but he decided to throw it out quickly, way too high. So once again, the pressure leads to Watson, and you know it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing because he's just getting rid of the ball, and that's a good thing. He's not forcing the ball out there throwing an interception. But it's really interesting that sometimes he would throw these balls away just because he felt the pressure, not necessarily that it was going to get him. 8 minute 15-second mark, Virginia Tech brought pressure, but Watson threw a well-placed ball to Kane in man coverage. So this is one of the better throws he threw. He threw it up, Deion Kane got it, and that was one of the better times he did that. And they have the ability to do that because these receivers are big. 7 minute 44-second mark, a RPO to Renfro got the touchdown. It was a fake to Gallman. The defenders followed Watson after the fake. He flipped it out to Renfro on the screen ran for a touchdown. That shows you why you got to be disciplined against an offense like this. 7 minute 28-second mark, Virginia Tech run pass option. It was a jump pass, almost Tebow like with Evans. Evans had been running the ball so well, so he came in faking like he was coming down for the run. They all sucked in. He jumped up, threw the ball in there. It was really interesting to see. 6 minute 28-second mark, Evans up the middle again, and their run blocking was starting to work itself out because Clemson got tired. They couldn't defend the run as well anymore. 6 minute 12-second mark of the fourth, Clemson defended the option well. Boulware stayed at home. 5 minute 51-second mark, Evans had plenty of time to throw, and Clemson busted the coverage, and he was able to get the ball where he needed to be and move the ball down the field. Another penalty for Clemson at the 5 minute 42-second mark. The following play, Clemson had a QB draw with their good run blocking again. 5 minute 5-second mark, Watson had good time and threw an accurate short pass, but it was a holding call, so another undisciplined play by Clemson. 4 minute 17-second mark, Watson had good time again, but severely underthrew Kane down the right sideline. And the way he threw it was Deion Kane had to actually stop and try to come back to the ball, and all he could do was try to fall to the ground and try to catch the ball. That's just how much it was underthrown. The 3 minute 30-second mark, Evans had good pass protection, but he ran and got the first down. 1 minute 28-second mark, number 99, Farrell for Clemson, the D-line, beat the left tackle of Clemson, beat him really well, and forced Evans to basically eat the ball and take the sack. 1 minute 16-second mark, Clemson sent the blitz, and it got to Evans, and he barely got the ball out, leading to a pick. That sealed the game for Clemson. Won the game, but and that was some of the things I saw. Hopefully, you got to see the themes was Clemson sometimes showing up a bit undisciplined. Their reliance on the QB draw with Deshaun Watson for their running game, and also sometimes Deshaun Watson's misses down the field, how Deshaun Watson responds to pressure, and even Clemson's reliance on their short to intermediate throws. So that is some of the things I want you to see, and that's what I saw. Let me know what you think about what I said in this video about Clemson. Let me know what you've seen from Clemson themselves and some of the plays that they've seen. I'm going to try to do another video with some Clemson footage, so see you next time. Thanks for listening.